What's up everybody, Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, back with another deck tech video, and today we have a viewer request. I got a request for, I believe it's pronounced, Gyome Master Chef, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. So who is Gyome? Gyome is a 5/3, 2 generic, 1 black, 1 green, trample. At the beginning of your end step, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn. And then you can sacrifice food, target creature gains indestructible until end of turn, and tap it. And so we're going to try to make lots of food. We're going to try to play our little dorks to get more food tokens and do some funny things. So let's see how we do this. Well, first and foremost, I did throw this busted-ass card in here. You know, Academy Manufacturer is strong. It's just generically one of the most powerful token-generating cards out there, so we threw him in there. I have no qualms with throwing him in there. Then we got some mana dorks in the forms of Birds of Paradise here. We've got ourselves an Elves of Deep Shadow, Elvish Mystic. We have, where is another one? I know we have another one in here. Oh, this is kind of a mana dork, right? You know, he sacks to search. But then we also have Camellia, the Seed Miser in here. Other squirrels have Menace. Whenever you sacrifice one or more foods, you get Squirrel, right? Pretty awesome. You can also pump your squirrels. We have Cauldron Familiar because that card is fun. We have Chatterfang if one or more tokens would be created. Those plus that many green squirrel tokens are created, so you know that fun times. We can make ourselves some Dino Nuggies with Displaced Dinosaurs. As a historic permanent enters the battlefield under your control, it becomes a 7/7 dinosaur in addition to its other types. Poop out a bunch of foods, treasures, clues, and whatever else, and you know, get tons. We have Dockside Chef, not to be confused with Dockside Extortionist. Dockside Chef is much more fair. He has his little eyeball ramen noodle there with a gear in it, and he has sacrifice an artifact, draw a card. Pretty easy. Or creature. You can do that with your squirrels as well. We have Eleanor Gardner. When she enters, you create a food, and at the beginning of your end step, if you sacrificed a food this turn, you may search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. I don't know what it is, friends, about when I did not yawn before I started making this video, but I don't know if it's narcolepsy or what, but you know what? We're struggling. We've got ourselves a Feasting Hobbit. He has Devour Food 3, and creatures with power less than Feasting Hobbit can't block it. We have Feasting Troll King. You know, he's got to eat the foods, right? He has Vigilance and Trample, and when he enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, create 3 foods, and sacrifice 3 foods, return him from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only during your turn. We do have Formidable Speaker for the upcoming Lorwyn set, mostly so we can untap some things, okay? Untapping permanents, you'll see why we're doing this here in a bit. We have Findhorn Brownie, also untaps things. We have Findhorn Elves, like I said, Mana Dork, Gilded Goose, Mana Dork, Lana War, Gilded Mana Dork. We have God Eternal Bantu. When it enters, sacrifice any number of other permanents, then draw that many cards. So you can sack your foods, treasures, etc. We have Haywire Mite. We have Peregrine Took, who's a busted card when it comes to foods. We have Mazarek Crawl, a Death Priest. Whenever a player sacrifices another permanent, you put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. We have Pippin, Warden of Isengard. Don't worry about the partner. You can tap 1 to create a food, and you can tap to sacrifice 4 foods. Other creatures you can control get +3/+3 in haste until end of turn. Activate as a sorcery. Prosperous Innkeeper. When it enters the battlefield, you create a treasure, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. Savvy Hunter. It is whenever it attacks or blocks, you create a food, sack 2 foods, draw a card. We have Rapacious Guest. This thing is a nuke. She's a big old hobbit, and she has Menace, and whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food token, you put a 1/1 counter on Rapacious Guest. When Rapacious Guest leaves the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to its power. That's not damage, so it's not prevented. I have hit somebody for over 40 with Rapacious Guest. We have Scrib Ranger, Flying Protection from blue, Flash, return a forest to control to its owner's hand, untap another creature. You know, we have all of our fun things in here. Lots of fun stuff. Goodness me. We have ourselves the Seeker of Skybreak. You untap a creature. We have the Cabbage Merchant, Tireless Provisioner, Wirewood Symbiote, and Aggro. So we're going to be able to do a lot of tap and untap things by tapping other stuff, which can get pretty interesting. Then we have our Blasphemous Edict. We have our Giant Opportunity. We have our Many Partings, which gets us a land and a food, and Toxic Deluge. For our instance, we have Abrupt Decay, Aim High, Bake into a Pie, Costly Plunder. What do you call it? You can sack. Oh my God! Draw 2 cards with our Deadly Dispute, Gift of Growth, Legolas Quick Reflexes, Mortality Spear, which it costs 2 less to cast if you gain life. Destroy target non-land permanent. Ornamental Courage, Putrefy, Second Harvest, Spidery Grasp, and Steady Aim. For our artifacts, we are running Tarian Soul Cleaver, which gives it vigilance whenever another artifact or creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield. The graveyard does see your treasures, clues, and foods, by the way. You get +1/+1 counter on it. We do have our Witch's Oven, which lets us sacrifice a creature, create a food token, then you can sack a food to return, etc. We have Puppet Strings, Bootlegger's Stash, 1,000-Year Elixirs, Trailblazer Boots, Whisper Silk Cloak, and Panharmonicon. We have Knight of Sweet's Revenge. Foods you control have tap, add green. When it enters, you create a food. Parallel Lives creates extra tokens. Meat Hook Massacre here. Just gives everything negative. Trudge Garden. Whenever you gain life, you can pay 2 to create a 4/4 green fungus beast. And then we have a pretty basic land package. I do throw Avendo in here because I love Avendo. It shouldn't be too hard to get that activated. Overall, it's just a pretty straightforward little fun food deck, It's just very interesting overall. One standout card here is the Cabbage Merchant. He's a new one, and whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you create a food, and whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, you sacrifice a food, but you can tap 2 untapped foods you control to add a mana of any color, so you can generate lots of mana as well. Just overall, lots of really good, interesting little tidbits in here. You can untap your 7/7s after attacking with them, things like that. It's just overall very fun, very good. We're trying to make Master Gyome, he can attack, and then you can make things indestructible. You can tap down certain things. So like with the indestructible stuff, right? So we're sacking the food and then tapping the creature, and then you untap it with your other effects. But yeah, as always, I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon. Let me know what you think of the deck tech. If you would like to see your deck get made into a deck tech, let me know in the comments down below. Turnaround depends on my day job and life events, I'll be perfectly honest with you. So anywhere from like a couple days to a couple weeks usually is about the turnaround. But let me know what you think. And as always, I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.